We are back with Andrew. The last time we recorded a video was about a year ago before you entered into seminary.
Whoa!
Much has happened since then.
Yep.
I let you guys know on Instagram that he would be recording with me and asked you to submit your questions, and many of you submitted great questions.
Amazing.
Yes, Andrew was blown away by the questions that you submitted and the depth of them. So we have a lot to cover today. But the first question a lot of people wanted to ask is, how are you doing and how has seminary been?
Yeah, I feel amazing.
Okay.
It's been great to be at the Hussam Haven.
Yes, he's been at our house, Zion and Jedediah, having a great time.
Oh, just raging.
With Uncle Andrew.
It's so great. Yeah, I mean, I'll try and give like a quick synopsis. There's so much that happens in seminary the first year. And I want to be like real to my own experience and also honest with what God's doing in my life. But I'd say, yeah, I'm experiencing a lot of peace. Like the consistency of daily prayer, study, exercise, sleeping in the same bed. I wasn't jet lagged anymore. I was cooking a lot of my own food because I'm like a nerd and eat super clean nutrition, fitness. I like love that stuff. So I physically and spiritually felt great. Like the year was wild. My first semester, was like all the crazy politics stuff going on, McCarrick report, corruption in the church. Like I was just getting like a full experience, and but kind of through that it was crazy. It was very like up and down with the virus and everything. Like we were locked down, we were outside in classrooms, we were inside. We like ended I think at Thanksgiving and went home, so I finished seminary at home for 6 weeks, which I don't really recommend. It's like I'm trying to like pray and do like work, and my mom's like, "Are you ready for dinner?" And I'm like, "Mom!" But I think God just gave me like just some amazing bros that like I really connect with. Like we want to be holy, we want to be men, that are radically living out the gospel. I mean, God gave me just like an incredible community around the area. A young adult community popped up like out of nowhere, and I kind of say this, I hope to encourage people who experience as a young Catholic like a lot of isolation, because it is a real thing. But I just keep finding like God just keeps bringing up amazing friendships. Again, like this Catholic thing, God keeps giving me like so many friends.
I love that.
That love God, they're normal people, going to the beach and getting food and,
community, true fellowship.
Yeah, and seminary, was tough. We're wearing masks all day. Like, it was very isolating at times. Yeah, I was definitely getting used to, like, being by myself a lot. I mean, you're with yourself a lot, okay? And God brings up a lot, in your own heart. I mean, I was really trying to engage with the philosophy and just all the content I was studying. Right. But yeah, just the consistency of prayer, of study. I mean, it really does change you. When you're in it, you're like, man, this is just like intense and this is like difficult.
Yeah.
And you're kind of facing these big questions, like celibacy and obedience and, simplicity, poverty. I mean, you're facing some big ideas, some big realities, and you're also trying to just like live daily life, and it's, it's been a journey, and God gave me an amazing spiritual director, and my formation advisor is amazing. I love my teachers. I experienced some really intense philosophical ideas that I've always loved this stuff, okay? So I'm pretty consistently engaged with the top intellectuals in the world. Like I'm watching YouTube debates, I'm watching, or listening to podcasts.
You've always read so many books.
Yeah, I'm like just constantly nerding out on that stuff. But I kind of realized, honestly, after the year, I was so engaged with the intellectual life. Like I think I was neglecting my heart and connecting the head and the heart, which is a temptation at seminary. You're in classes all day.
Right, studying.
So it kind of feels like school, but you're like studying to be a priest, and we didn't have a whole bunch of community, which, I was able to really have some amazing friends in the area, and it was just such a gift. Some families and just new friends. I got good grades.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. You don't know, like my mother like always tells me, like, Andrew, you're so smart, you just never apply yourself. And I'm like, I know I never apply myself. And I tried to apply myself this year, and I actually did well in my classes. So
amazing.
That was kind of great. Yeah. Woo. I think I had like a 3.9.
Hey.
Something like that.
Way to go.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out. We'll have to fact check that. But it was pretty high.
So what would you say is your biggest blessing? Was it this community that surrounded you in seminary?
I mean, I say maybe the biggest blessing outside of that would probably just this underlying piece of, this is where I'm supposed to be.
I love that.
And the question, like, y'all have to understand, like, the question is still there. Like, I am not 100% like, oh, this is it.
Right.
I have a conviction that I'm where I'm supposed to be, and God is very slowly kind of awakening this desire for the priesthood, and it's just kind of evolving. And I was really looking for an answer now. Like, I entered seminary, and we're doing a week silent retreat. I mean, we have like consistent, like a lot of spiritual prayer.
Right.
I mean, mass. I mean, it's a lot of kind of monastic life, you know?
Monastic meaning like a monk, like a monk would live. And
Yeah.
for those of you just tuning in to this, Andrew would have, 5 more years? 5 more years of study before he becomes a priest, so.
Yeah, I'm entering theology 1 now, and but yeah, you're kind of so engaged with the question constantly, and it's just not, at least for me, I wasn't feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm getting these like clear answers, like this is it. Yeah, God, I think really was giving me a lot of peace, kind of at the end there of like, I don't need to know everything about what my life is going to be. And honestly, like, that was the biggest hindrance, I'd say, to my spiritual life this year, was just thinking that I need to know what this is going to look like, or else I can't trust Jesus. And the litany of trust, yeah, holler! Like, what a lie, right? Like, that we need to know everything of what our vocation's going to look like, what our future's going to look like.
Gosh, you're speaking to me.
Yeah, but even as like like, I'm trying to live out celibacy, like, that's scary to think about, you know? I'm a human being. But in the midst of that, like, God giving so much grace to like enter into that with them, to really become a friend, you know, this friendship with Christ. And I mean, my prayer grew exponentially just because like I wasn't flying every other day. And it's very difficult. Emily did it to, I mean, such an extreme as well. But, you know, it was great to I just finished a student vote conference in Texas, Lone Star. Like, it was so anointed. Like, the Holy Spirit just like filling people's lives. Like, we're desperate for God right now. We know that this is a short life.
Yeah.
We can't take this for granted anymore. Yeah, I'd say as a whole, it's been a total gift. Plenty of trials, like plenty of lows. But yeah, God is definitely, I think, you know, really starting to give me a lot more peace about the vocation. And I could see myself being called to be a priest. I mean, I could see it. But yeah, that desire to need to know now, like, it's an ungodly self-reliance that I've been really believing for a long time. Like, I'm going to figure out my vocation. Like, I'm going to do this for you, God. And it's like, wait, that is not the gospel at all. It's all about us, like, literally letting go of our lives. If you want to find your life, you need to lose it.
Yep.
Taking up our cross, which it's funny. I was looking at an email today from a guy who, I think he's Buddhist, you know, but he's essentially saying like, 10 ways to get rid of suffering. You know, in seminary, you're just like entering into like some suffering.
Totally.
You know?
Being refined in a true fire.
Same as a mom raising kids. The kid, you know, poopy diapers, screaming, not sleeping. I mean, these people are in it. You know what I mean?
It's true.
It's not this pretty perfect thing all the time, but like to actually enter into a cross, to know that Jesus can not just redeem it, but bring you joy in it.
Right.
And how easy it is at seminary to think, oh, if I was just in this, oh, if I was just there, or oh, if I just was called to marriage and had 12 children, you know, or whatever it is.
It's the condition of everybody's life now,
yes.
looking at every other thing and being, if I was over there, I would be happy. If I was over there, I would have true joy. When we enter into what the Lord is calling us to and find what He wants for us there.
Right. And I think actually one of the questions, which is great, was
it
was asking about like how do you find ways to know like how God is speaking to you?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm reading obviously a lot of the spiritual classics. I mean, I love the spiritual life. I love, you know, learning about discernment and prayer. And I think that's a great question because we're all wanting to know why we're here.
Totally.
Like, let's get back to the basics, people. Human beings ask questions that tree and that squirrel and that rose do not ask. Why are we here? What's the point of this whole thing? And where is this going? Where is this going to end?
What am I doing?
And the funny thing is, these questions are not just answered, but fulfilled in the person of Jesus Christ. I mean,
Amen.
It answers the longing of the human heart. In the midst of questions of discernment and questions of what's next, like I still experience that ache You know, it's like, just because I've been following Jesus, I think, for like 12 years now, I don't, like, that ache doesn't leave, you know, of God, like, what is my future going to look like? Or am I where I'm supposed to be? Or how do I know this is it? I realized a lot of discernment is just about letting go. It's just, I'm realizing a lot of the spiritual life is just letting go and letting God.
And it seems so simple, and we overcomplicate
Right.
the whole thing.
Dude, the whole thing, it's like I need to pray 20 rosaries, I need to do this novena for this guy to make sure that he wants to date me. Or, you know, yeah, we just do so many different, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Totally.
We need daily sacraments if you can, or at least on Sundays, you know, some type of prayer life, fellowship service. Those things are good.
Right.
But I kind of realized, like, I was relying on those things to give me answers so I could be in control. And the spiritual life is about, I mean, the reality of how or how so many things are so uncontrollable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did we learn this year? We are not in control.
Yep.
And that's, I guess, something that I think in discernment is crucial. Like, if you're doing the basics, if you're trying to live a moral life, if you're frequently going to the sacraments and going to confession and starting new, like, you're not gonna miss it, you know? And I remember people telling me that, and this is like, I'm 31, I just turned 31. This is like 10 years of like me traveling, doing retreats, my friends getting married, I'm dating, things aren't working out. Like, God, when you gonna let me know, bro? Like, I'm ready. Like, bring me the woman. Tell me to be a monk. Like, let's do this thing.
Right.
And I honestly never got those answers. But what I say the church has taught and what, you know, spiritual leaders have taught, it's true. It's like, live out the Catholic life, love others, love God, serve at your local parish, pray, and you're not gonna miss it, you know? And I just think people need to be encouraged. Like, we're just so afraid to miss the mark. I think there's some deep abandonment, you know, wounds. There's just some deep fears of being inadequate. And it's like, if you can start from that reality that, like, you exist and you are good. Like, simply your existence is a gift. It's an incredible gift. And that's already, I'm just starting to, like, actually just thank God for my existence. It's such a simple thing, right?
Wow.
But to accept our reality that we exist, like, how often are we just like floating through life and not even like reflecting on how amazing it is that we are here breathing, that we're alive together at the same time, that
Right, both 31.
yeah, like that God has brought, you know, so many amazing people into our lives, and all the different ways that, you know, we've suffered and grown. And yeah, I don't know, for me, discernment's just starting to get way more simplified, you know.
I love that.
And it's funny, it's like I'm still not there of like, I'm 100% I'm gonna be a priest. Like,
Right.
I don't know when that happens. Some guys enter seminary and they're like, this is it.
Right, and they know. But that's the whole thing about discernment, is we've talked about in our last video, that it's this process, right? You know, you don't start dating someone because you know you're going to marry them. You start dating them to see if you're called to marriage.
Right.
In the same way that you didn't enter seminary saying, this is, you know,
Totally.
what I'm going to do, I'm going to see what the Lord has for me here. And I think that's such an important thing to remember, is that it's a journey, right? Being in the seminary is a journey. A woman entering religious life, right? As a novice, that's a journey. Dating is a journey. That it's all this journey where the Lord is speaking, guiding, and lighting the way.
Well, we're being so trained to have instantaneous success. Microwave. The phone. I mean, I always want to like make sure I'm finding that middle ground. Like, I love technology. Like, technology is amazing.
Oh, it does so much for us.
I can press a button and a random dude comes and picks me up on the side of the road. I mean, that's crazy. But also with these technologies, like, I swear when my Google does not go to my search instantly, I'm like, what is happening?
Come on, yeah, totally.
And so I think a lot of even my own life, I've been kind of this technology increase, this instantaneous culture, needing self-gratification immediately. If you have an urge, you have to satisfy it. If you, whatever that's, you know, sexually or whatever passion or desire you have, it has to be met instantly and you can't say no. I think that has spilled into a lot of spiritualities, and it's like, dude, the gospel is like such a longer, slow, painful, difficult, joyful process, and that actually should be encouraging, you know. God did things, I think, this year in my heart and in my soul that took time.
Like a slow cooker
It's
rather
a
than a microwave.
slow cooker. And everyone loves a good crock pot. You know what I mean?
Amen.
Everyone loves a good crock pot. But I think with a lot of this instantaneous culture we have, it's like, yeah, we're looking to gratify desires and needs that are good, but if they're not properly ordered to love of God and love of neighbor, then they're just getting all twisted, you know? So at least for me, I'm realizing like it's okay for me not to know.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
It's okay for me to have questions still. I mean, one of the questions there about faith, I want to just hit really quick.
Yeah, absolutely.